Here's everything I ate flying from Paris to the Maldives. Guys, something embarrassing happened and I was almost not allowed to board our second flight. But listen, we'll get to that later. Our long journey began at Charles de Gaulle Airport. I actually have not had McDonald's breakfast for years and I was really craving a bacon and egg McMuffin. But guys, this did not hit the spot. It had zero sauce on it, so it was as dry as the Sahara Desert. I washed down my sadness with my basic girl Starbucks order, which is a sugar-free vanilla oat milk flat white. I love drinking this, but I hate myself for ordering it every time. Then it was time to get on our flight and we had the whole road to ourselves. We are on honeymoon and we do love each other, but we still decided to spread out. James very generously gave me one of his Maltesers and then devoured the whole packet without giving me any more, but that's fine. Then it was time for our first meal service. First we had this quinoa salad, and listen, would have liked to see a little more dressing on there, but it was still pretty tasty. For our main, I got the braised beef stew, and guys, I'm honestly shocked at how good this was. The beef actually melted in my mouth and the gravy was really rich and full of flavor. Even this roll was a lot better than the bread I've had on most airlines recently. The only thing I wasn't the biggest fan of was this strawberry mousse that we got for dessert. It was light, airy, and not overly sweet, but the flavor just wasn't quite for me. Later on in the flight, they came around with these mozzarella, tomato, and pesto paninis. Again, was surprised how much I enjoyed this. The pesto flavor really shone through and there was a nice, generous amount of cheese going on. We also got this salted caramel chocolate pudding, which I definitely preferred to the earlier dessert. It was super rich and indulgent. When we arrived in Abu Dhabi, we had a 6-hour layover, so very grateful that we had a pass available for the lounge. We started by having a sneaky G&T because you gotta make the time go faster somehow. I got quite a random plate of food because I couldn't figure out if I was hungry or not by this point. The lamb curry and the biryani were definitely the highlights. Like, for lounge buffet food, I was pretty impressed. I also got some tandoori chicken, which was very dry and underwhelming. Finished our time off in the lounge with a glass of red wine, and then it was time to board our next flight. However, when I got to the entrance of the plane, I realized I had lost my boarding pass. The staff said I could not get on the flight until I found it, so I awkwardly stood there searching for about 5 minutes. Suddenly, a passenger came up and handed the staff a boarding pass, which, spoiler alert, it was mine. So I guess I must have dropped it on this bridge when I was doing my happy dance. Thankfully, after this, I got on the flight and it was very non-eventful. They did come around with a meal service on this flight, but I wasn't very hungry, so I just skipped it. Then I did another embarrassing thing. I left my neck pillow on the plane and I had to wait for like half an hour for the staff to go retrieve it. It didn't matter because we made it to the Maldives. We were met at the airport and escorted to our private speedboat transfer. And this was just the beginning of the most incredible accommodation experience of my entire life.